But he's firing off emails that end with regards, David Goss, CFO, NBA. So, Goss, love you. See you soon. In the co-host here with me today is my good pal, Tom Hindle, Goal.com's very own. Tom, thank you so much for joining me. And it's just a couple Toms cutting it up.
Hi, mate. How are you?
I'm pretty good. Thanks for joining.
Yeah, dude. I feel honored. Do you know what I mean? Like this feels like a big deal. You know, I've done so many wonderful things in my career, but this is the pinnacle. It's all downhill from here, mate.
Well, you're coming right off of talking to Lee Win and then to me, so that is downhill in the literal sense, because Lee Win was probably much more fun.
Bogut, bigger than Lee Win confirmed.
No chance. Lee Win's a legend. That was a really good piece. So you guys haven't read it, go check it out on Goal.com. Tom did a really good feature on Lee Win, and I don't know, man. Anytime I see Lee Win in a headline, I'm in. Like, that's it. Just blindly. He's really good, and this was a really good story. You got to check it out.
Do you know what, mate? That took you less than 2 minutes to plug something, and just for that, you're a good friend. I appreciate it.
And it was genuine, and it made me feel corny. I was like, that was genuine, but it's gonna sound disingenuous.
Like,
anyway, one more thing to say. Congrats to one of our soccer-wise dads, Charlie Fiction, aka Charlie Cheesesteak. He had his nuptials. A wonderful, wonderful couple. I am very, very happy for you guys. Enjoy all the celebrations that you very much well deserve, and stop texting me about Patreon stuff. Put your phone down. Don't look at soccer-wise. Enjoy your nuptials and your celebrations and parties.
Just to be clear, this is your podcast, and you've told people to stop watching your podcast.
No, not people. I have told one of our dads, okay. Charlie Cheesesteak, Charlie Fiction, because I texted him yesterday to say congrats, and he texted back with like, dude, did you see that comment? And I was like, I'm angry that you've seen whatever you're referring to, because I haven't, and you should be doing something else.
Was the comment funny?
I don't know. I still haven't seen it. So yeah, we got a good show here. We had a very, very busy midweek. There was some random hangnail MLS games, but the main events was the US Open Cup semifinals, and we had Tuesday, Nashville beat the Philadelphia Union, which we'll get to that in a minute. But last night, Minnesota United hosted Austin FC, and Austin went on the road in extra time, a late game winner from CJ Fodry to set up an Austin FC versus Nashville Open Cup final. Whichever team wins will be their first trophy in club history. It should be fun. But let's talk about Minnesota United versus Austin last night. It ended 2-1. Went to extra time. Austin opened the scoring in the first half through Usman Bukhari, who maybe could have been sent off earlier in the game. We'll talk about that in a second. Joaquin Pereira with a beautiful free kick to equalize in the second half. And you just kind of thought it was a matter of time before Minnesota grabbed a winner. They bring on Fitz and Julian Gressel, two really good subs. I thought that was going to change the game. Fitz didn't change the game. Gressel didn't get on the ball enough. Game states were a little bit weird. Bongi Hlongwane had a 1v1 to put Minnesota ahead. Brad Stuver came up big, as Brad Stuver does. And it was CJ Fodry scoring a winner just ahead of penalties when we were all talking about the heavyweight battle that would be Brad Stuver versus Dane St. Clair in penalties. It's Austin FC. Tom Hindle. They're in the final.
Yeah, I mean, do you ever watch a football match and go, how's that team won that? Like, I genuinely, and maybe this is, I mean, I suppose this is the Austin FC tech, right? But I was just like, watching that, I was like, oh yeah, Minnesota United, very disciplined. Like, everything seemed to be falling into place. And then you have like this football madness of like a last minute winner that seemed entirely not against the run of play, but unexpected. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I want Minnesota put all the right pieces into place to win a football match, and then Austin just nicks one. And you know what? Sometimes when you're watching cup competitions, you're like, that's not fair, but that's kind of fun because it's not fair.
Is that what you think?
That's my thought. That's my really, really technical analysis. But honestly, if I were a Minnesota fan, I'd be a little bit peeved, I think. And look, I know you hate talking about refs. I hate talking about refs. But Bukhari shouldn't have been on the pitch, man. Like,
yeah.
Like, he's kicked out the defender that must have been, about halfway through the first half? I don't know the exact minute,
it was definitely when it was 0-0.
Yeah, and, mate, it changes the game, doesn't it? Red card. I mean, obviously, numerically, and also the fact that he wouldn't have been on the pitch to score the bloody goal. So, yeah, it was an interesting one. It felt like a cup tie as well. Do you get that sense?
It did.
I don't know.
Oh my God, yeah. Oh, and so I will say if these two teams met in a regular season game in August, and maybe they did, I'm just throwing out a month there. I think it would have felt like a cup final in the sense of the play styles, not the quite the same intensity, of course, but Minnesota United, what they want to do is kill you in transition, kill you in set pieces, and choke the game with their incredible structure. That's why I thought that they had the edge in this game, because I just think that they're better than Austin. They're home, and again, the outweighed importance of set pieces in these knockout games. And I didn't know if Austin were going to be able to threaten really at all. Austin did so with the Bukhari goal. Again, that was against the run of play in the first half, but that's kind of how it was always going to go. What Austin, they have similarities to Minnesota in the sense that they want to sit deep and hit you in transition. They have a little bit more, when they get to the final third in terms of players who can unlock things, particularly Owen Wolf. I think he was awesome last night. Danny Pereira is a goddamn warrior. He was really, really good. He's a dude that, I don't know, man, you put him on the field in a knockout game, you put him on the field in a final, and I'm just going to bet that guy's going to play well and going to impact the game in a positive way. But I didn't know if they were going to be able to threaten Minnesota, and truth be told, they didn't a ton, and then the game really slowed down in extra time, and outside of the Bungie chance that he should have scored, I didn't feel a winner coming for Austin, but I was more assuming that Austin were going to be the ones sitting really deep, getting pegged back with pressure, and Minnesota, again, even if they weren't dangerous attempts, like a cross after set piece after whatever, and it just didn't play out that way in extra time.
Isn't that part of the Minnesota tech, though, in a way, right? When you play a little more defensively and structured, when it's okay, lads, it's time to get a winner, you're maybe looking to be a bit more expansive, and then you kind of lose what makes you good. I don't know if that makes any sense, but that seems like
and that's so Minnesota's ideal game state or game flow is their weekend win against San Diego.
Yeah.
San Diego dominates the possession, the field tilt, everything else. Guess what?
Dane St. Clair's awesome. Sorry. You did not just say field tilt.
Yeah, I said field tilt. I'm sorry. Is that bothering you?
You nerd.
Sorry, did that trigger you? Sorry.
No. On this podcast that I have just jumped on for the first time, we do not acknowledge the phrase field tilt.
What are you talking about? Hold on. What? Go on.
A whole lot
asinine.
It's asinine. It's just like every favorite Twitter tactico's we won the field tilt battle. Shut up. You know what you can say? We had more of the ball in the right area.
Dork. What is it? Field tilt says that in less words. It's
okay, fair enough. Right, so what are you gonna do? But anyway, as you were.
So San Diego have the ball. San Diego have the ball in more dangerous areas or further up the field instead of saying field tilt. Sorry, I just just want to be careful for you here and make you a welcome guest. And Minnesota, Dane St. Clair does Dane St. Clair things. Michael Boxall does Michael Boxall things. The structure under Eric Ramsey is so good. They are so difficult to play through. This team defends incredibly, obviously, with their effort, but intellectually they move as a unit. And it's so that's one of the things that I think I respect most about Eric Ramsey is that you can tell the way they move, even in preseason. It's wow, this, you guys should be more disjointed, and he's got them really well drilled. Then they hit on the counter, they hit in transition, they score from midfield because why not for Minnesota United? So that was their ideal game. Austin in MLS this season, second to last in average possession, third to last in field tilt, second in long pass share. They're second in long pass share behind Minnesota United in first. So Austin was well, you're home. You're technically the favorite. We're going to do what you want to do more than you. It's on you to make the game. And they couldn't. And this is the worry about Minnesota in the playoffs. If they come against a team that says, okay, you take the ball. You break us down. We're going to try to limit your long throws. We're going to try to limit your set piece opportunities. And hey, Kelvin Yeboah, are you good enough to beat us in open play? And he wasn't. Bongi Hilongwe, yeah, you're going to get him behind. Do you have the finishing touch? And last night he didn't. And the game has such thin margins. And Usman Bukhari, who has not been a great goal scorer for Austin. He's got 5 goals in 2,400 minutes this year. And that is an improvement from his first half season when he signed last year for $7 million. Usman Bukhari went in. He scores his one-on-one. Bongi Hilongwe didn't. And these are two players that are similar in their goal production. One scored, one didn't.
Yeah, it's true. Did you not think that was a bit of a mistake, though, from Dane St. Clair? And look. Precursor.
Hashtag he a Terp.
Hashtag he a Terp. I will always support a Maryland Terrapin. In fact, first person, make it about me, I ever interviewed was Dane St. Clair, 18 years old. Asked him a question about, was he excited to play at Ludwig Field? and almost shit myself getting through that. So anyway, love the man. But should he save it?
I wouldn't go as far as to say it was like a goalkeeper error, but I think Dane St. Clair, we view him in the goalkeeper of the year conversation. So
Right.
judging on that curve, yes.
It's funny because, like, I just feel like I've jumped on this podcast, become a total boomer, and been like, this game was full of mistakes. There was
And
nothing
hang on,
good.
you immediately went games I played on a spreadsheet, mate. Like, what's going on here?
No, but honestly, I did find it quite a captivating contest, and I say this as a neutral, right? Like I was watching a football match, and it got to extra time, and I was like, oh, hang on, there's tension here, and that was quite fun. And I think more generally, right, like for the Open Cup, like that's what you need. You need drama, you need jeopardy, you need tension, you need something to keep you sort of on your toes. And as frustrating as extra time can be, and we have talked about this, for the fans, it's not bad. It's not bad at all.
Yeah, I thought that was, again, it was like the first 40, 45 minutes kind of played out how you expected it to. Again, like one more, like Austin FC, I believe they're best in MLS at like the quality of shots that they're conceding because they're selling out to defend. And Nico Estevez made this trade-off. He had to make this trade-off in Dallas because the back line just did not have good enough players. Yeah. And he's made that trade-off here in Austin again as Brandon Vasquez got injured and as, you know, the attacking performances haven't quite been what he wanted. But listen, they're getting results. They're above the playoff line. They're comfortably above the playoff line. They're going to make the playoffs. It won't be spectacular, but look, man, take a step back. They're in an Open Cup final, and they're making the playoffs. They spent a lot of money, but that's not Nico Estevez's control. I don't think that you look at this squad and be like, you know, we don't have to rank them one by one, but like look at a couple teams around Austin. Portland, Seattle are the two teams ahead of them, and LAFC in fourth. Those three teams all have more talent than this Austin FC team, especially without Brandon Vasquez. So while it's been unspectacular and maybe not the most aesthetic, Nico Estevez's job well done this season. Really, really good. I think this is realistically as good as you could have hoped as an Austin fan for Nico Estevez's debut season, when there was a lot of consternation on that hire given the way his time in Dallas ended and the fact that it was Dallas, their rival.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a complicated one, isn't it? Especially when you bring in from, so, well, I was going to say, Texas is big, so it's not a local rivalry, is it, really? But, no, like, you come into a club and you make what can only be considered in the scope of Major League Soccer. That's an immediate impact, right? Like that is. And maybe, like, you look at it, well, they're 7th now, sure, they might. Few good results, they get up to, what, the 4th at a push? 4th or 5th? You know, might get home field, might get a game at home. Yeah, Austin, if
You're saying right now?
Well, not right now. I'm saying few good results. They could move into that.
They're 6 points behind LAFC, and I don't think that you. I think
Brother,
don't move
Tom,
the goalpost.
I was trying to make a point here. My point is.
Bad co-host, my bad. Yeah. You're right.
Comes on, you fucking idiot. Go home. No, what I'm trying to say is they are a playoff team, and that's a good thing immediately.
I love to hear you say playoff in your accent because I know that
you have to
rewire your brain when you went to
Maryland. Dude, do you want to talk pro rel as well? Like, let's go.
Really quickly, a couple more points on Austin because obviously we're going to talk about them as we build into the final. And again, they're going to be hosting. That's going to be really cool. They hosted the All-Star game. Fun year for Austin when, you know, personally I didn't have high expectations for them. But again, I just want to reiterate.
The city of Austin or Austin FC?
The city of, the Austin FC. Like, they hosted. Like, yeah.
I was going to say.
The state of the comedy space in Austin. Again, I do want to say that Owen Wolff has had a breakout this season. Maybe not a breakout, but definitely a leveling up. He's a really good player, I think. He's hit another level of kind of consistency, and I spoke with Nico Estevez about that this week, and how he said he's like, hey, he should be in the national team, right? He should be under consideration for the national team. And the way that he was saying it was, in the beginning of the year, he would have some great moments. As you know, he's really talented. And we, with the coaching staff, we were challenging him to consistency. Okay, this moment, how can you do this? How can you be a 7.5 out of 10 every time, rather than, you had a few moments, you drifted in and out of the game, as young players do. Yeah. This season, so they spent $7 million on Bukhari, $12.5 million on Mircea Uzuni, and 10 million on Vasquez. Obviously, Vasquez is injured, and since he got injured, and these it's just correlation, not causation. But since he got injured is when Wolf has really been stepping up more and more. We talk about two players that have $20 million worth of transfer fees, and all of the others around him. I trust nobody more in the final third or in entering the final third than Owen Wolf on this team. He's 85th percentile in like shot creating actions. He's above that in expected assists among midfielders in MLS. The progressive passes, like his pass completion percentage is low. I like that because that means he's taking chances and he's not going sideways and backwards. Because if he doesn't make the game for this team, if he's not the creative force coming through the midfield, there is nobody. Bukhari is not that guy. He's a straight line runner and he's very dangerous in that way. But in terms of progressing with the ball and intelligent passes, it's Owen Wolf or nobody.
See, that's enlightened, what you've just said. The idea of like high pass volume and sometimes low percentage, like you're a clever man. But seriously though, as a player to have that killer ball in you, that's massive. And it's like I feel like that's something like we undervalue a lot. It's like, oh, he's got a killer pass in the final third. It's just words. But Owen Wolf has got it, and that's can only be a good thing. And when you bring up God, there's a route we maybe don't want to go down too much, but the national team thing, I think the only thing that maybe holds him back is the fact that he's kind of a 10 and the US has way too many of them.
Yeah.
It's like you're trying to fight for probably the deepest spot in the side, but honestly, good for him, and hopefully it makes a difference for them in the final.
I agree. And really quickly on those signings, so Bukhari has 11 goal contributions in about 2,400 minutes. Uzuni, he was really anonymous last night. Again, part of that I do think was service. But part of that is the run makes the pass, and I didn't see enough from him last night. I'm not ready to call this a bad signing. I did say at the time it was an elevated fee from what sources expected around the league.
If you call something a bad signing, is that like seismic? Is that like if like Bogut calls something a bad signing? It's like, have you ever watched?
My opinion, whether I assume that my opinion doesn't hold weight.
I was gonna say it's headline news, isn't it?
I'm
not ready to. No, but the way you set that up is like, I'm not ready to call it a bad signing yet, as if it's like this impending doom.
It sounded self-serious. It wasn't meant to be. So he has 10 goal contributions in 2,100 minutes. He has looked better, or it was always an awkward fit with him and Vasquez because Uzuni has only played as a center forward or a second striker. So it's always been a little bit awkward. And again, I do think that there is room for that partnership. So it's really disappointing that Vasquez got hurt. And then Vasquez had 10 goal contributions in 1,800 minutes before he got hurt. This team is not winning because they spent a lot of money on 3DPs and the 3DPs are awesome. They're winning because of the collective, the defensive unit. And I think a lot of that goes to Nico Estevez. Brendan Heinz Ike has been really, really good this year. That's been awesome. So let's change a little bit to Minnesota before the other semifinal. Disappointing. I think it's disappointing. Yeah. Like I've been holding Minnesota in high regard this season, and part of that praise comes with expectations. And if you don't meet it, it's disappointing. I don't think that they were bad, but I don't walk away from this and being like, man, they got really unlucky. They really should have won this. Like so Austin scoring the first goal obviously impacted things, but I don't know. They didn't do enough outside. I think the Bongi chance and a few other things. Like again, Julian Gress, like. They didn't have, and with Yeboah being coming off injured, that hurts when you're trying. Like then the delivery from Gressel or Fitz or Bongi if he's on the other wing, whatever it is, that becomes less valuable, and that's what the team is built around, and that's where they missed Tani Oluwase. Joaquin Pereira, though, again, really good moment on the free kick, didn't kind of do enough to affect the game in the final third. So they weren't creating the set pieces, and when they were, they weren't dangerous enough. And really quickly, you're kind of looking around and being like, "Ooh, where's the goal coming from here?"
Yeah. Well, it's funny, isn't it? Because it's like Minnesota played the way they play. They executed in the way that they sort of normally would, if you will. But then that final piece of magic didn't really come. And when it did come, it's from an amazing free kick, right? That's a beautiful strike. And you can watch it over and over and over again. But, I mean, like you said, picking up on something you said earlier, mate, like if that is their... I mean, calling them one-dimensional might be a bit of a risk, but if that is their whole shtick, if that's how they win games, and then they get put in a situation where you can win a game that way, and then it's like, oh, hang on, like this hasn't worked. I mean, you've got to ask questions about how clinical they can be when it really counts, and it seems like when you're low field tilt, then you need to take advantage of the chances you do have, and they lacked a bit of a clinical nature.
For sure, and yeah, one dimensional is one way to put it. I think that the analogy that I've liked to use for this team is, look, they throw their fastball is elite, and they can hit the corner, and sometimes it's like, a lot of times you know what they're doing, and I'm gonna throw this ball right here as hard as I can, hit it, and a lot of times teams can't, but they don't have that second pitch, and that, like, again, set pieces help with that, but that is part of their primary objective and their primary strengths. And again, Fitz has only just gotten here. He needs time to settle in. This could have been a really cool moment. It's unfair to expect him to come and change the game in the semifinal not long after arriving. But Fitz is somebody who should be or will be. The idea is he's that second pitch. He's somebody who can change the game in different ways than they're already doing it. Again, losing the kind of physical nature at center forward with Taniel Osei going, and again, Yoboa going off injured, that limits the quality crossing from Fitz, from Gretzel, from Joaquin Pereira, from Robin Lod. Robin Lod I thought was really good in the first half and then kind of faded away through the game. So, yeah, Minnesota United, they'll have that to figure out. But listen, they're in the Supporters' Shield race. There's 4 games left. They are 3 points behind the Philadelphia Union. Vancouver Whitecaps have 2 games in hand. They will be first in the Supporters' Shield if they win both of those games. And coming off a 7-0 thrashing of the Philadelphia Union, they look in a really good spot. But Minnesota are still alive for the Shield. And obviously, coming to the playoffs, they're going to be an absolute threat to get out of the Western Conference. So, long season left for them. Doesn't take away that this has been a really special season. It still has potential to be great. But I had them, even with how good I think Philly and Nashville are and how dangerous Austin can be in a kept the game. Minnesota was who I earmarked back in the quarterfinals of, like, yeah, that's the team to beat in the Open Cup, and they were beaten. So, yeah. The other side of that, Austin will host the final in 2 weeks. On Wednesday, October 1st, they will play Nashville SC, who beat the Philadelphia Union 3-1. Sam Sturridge hat-trick. What an unbelievable performance.
I am an enthusiast.
I'll let you go on Sturridge in a second. This game was a car crash, particularly at first. And Nashville set the tone by, hey, Philly, we know how you want to play. We know how you're going to play. We're gonna do it too. Off the kickoff, kick it out for a throw-in. I hate that, but I thought it was a great microcosm for what was about to unfold. The first 10, 15 minutes, I don't know how many shoulders or elbows, and everything was a car crash. And then Nashville gets the goal off a set piece. Sam Sturridge, like, if you haven't seen the highlights, please go watch again. Absolute clinic on center forward movement several times, particularly that first goal. Gets the first goal. And then Nashville were able to play a little bit more after. They earned the right to play because they met Philadelphia at their physicality, which usually Philadelphia drags team into the way that they want to play. And then that's where the game is locked. Whether they win or lose. Obviously, they lost big to Vancouver this weekend and then lose to Nashville. It's a tough week for Philly. But that's how that one went. Walker Zimmerman didn't play. BJ Callahan said he was just rested, which just sounds like a pile of bullshit. It's one of the biggest games in club history. Your leader, your dominant center back, captain, all of that. Just rested seems a little fishy. I don't know. We'll see if he's back on the weekend and if he's fully rested and ready to go. Quinn Sullivan didn't start for Philadelphia. Thought that was a big mistake. Sullivan comes off the bench and scores a goal. But again, Nashville had too much for Philly, and it was a Sam Sturridge show.
Yeah, I mean, one thing I did like about that is that we talked about cup ties, right, when it comes to the first game. There was a similar vibe to this as well. There was like anger might not be the right word, but there was a competitiveness to it, wasn't there, for the first 15, 20. And I thought Nashville were really rather good. One thing that struck me about them is how efficient they were. I think it was like 5 big chances created, 3 goals. All right, done. Like there's nothing sexy about that, is there? But, well, maybe there is. But like there's nothing unbelievable about it. But no, they were great. They were great at the right moments. And
tell me what you love about Sam Sturridge.
Everything. No, right. So the best.
Because he's English?
Right, yes, because he's English. No, first of all, MLS All-Star Media Day. Was talking to him. I was like, why'd you choose, like, Nashville, bro? Like, why'd you end up in Nashville? He's like, couldn't point to it on a map, mate, but heard it was good. And I was like, I love you. Like, you're amazing. And we were texting a little bit, weren't we? And I think the Samsung, and I'm gonna inevitably quote this wrong now, but I think it was 16 touches, 4 of 6 passes completed, 3 goals.
Are you kidding me?
How amazing is that? How amazing is that?
And it's funny because, like, again, even outside of the goals, I thought that he had a bigger impact on the game. And again, maybe it's just creating with movement and everything else. Or oh my goodness.
So that's part of the reason, like
I just pulled it up. 4 of 6 passes. 1 pass into the 4 touches in the opposition box.
I love it.
Goals.
I love it.
Unbelievable.
Right. So I mean, look, part of it is
five fouls committed. Love that. Get stuck in.
Right, exactly. Part of it is you can troll and be like, what a weirdo. But like part of it is that it does need intellectualizing in the fact he's a big number 9. He's a big guy who does all of the right things to be an MLS striker. And that's fantastic. And you know what? You score a hat trick in what, the biggest game of the season, the biggest game, and what were you speculating in club history? Don't know about that. Like
second, like they had a Leagues Cup final against Miami that they lost in penalties when Messi, and then they've had a couple real and serious playoff games, but this is top 3, top 4.
Okay, but my point is, massive game, scores a hat trick without touching the ball that much. That's great. That's awesome. None of this woke like linking up play has to be a do a bit of everything 9. Fuck that. I'm gonna go and kick the ball in the goal. This is amazing.
So yeah, for Philadelphia, kind of gonna mirror the Minnesota conversation in that really disappointing and a really, really bad week again, coming off that 7-0 thrashing at Vancouver. Philly were in the driver's seat, still are, for the Supporters Shield, but it looked a lot better a week ago. But now they'll just get their 4 games remaining, just focus on that, try to lock down the Shield and build for the playoffs. It's still, again, a very, very good season, surpassed all expectations, but Philly will obviously be upset. They do finish the season with, they have New England and DC, so those are 2 non-playoff teams. If you beat who you're supposed to beat, you should get there, but they close out with home NYCFC at Charlotte, and Charlotte are literally the hottest team in MLS history with how many games in a row that they've won, so this is all going to come down to the wire for Philly, and we'll talk about them in regards to the Shield race, but a little bit more kind of with Nashville. Tag Seth is a player I really, really enjoy, Eddie Tag Seth. He's got quality to him, but he's got like this motor that never stops. He's a smaller guy, but he got elbowed in the face, right? And Ben Wright put this clip up on Blue Sky. And it's really, it was when it was 2-1 Nashville. Eddie Tag Seth takes an elbow, bleeding from his face, goes off the field because he has to change his jersey. He's trying to get them, come on, I want to get back in there. He gets a New Jersey. Ball goes out for a Philly throw-in in the, near the corner flag, the attacking corner flag for Philly. Tag Seth's at midfield. The ref waves him in. Philly takes the throw-in to Jovan Lukic, and Tag Seth just immediately blows him up, gets stuck in. The ball flicks off Lukic. He turns to the ref to complain. Bradley Carnell's like, what the hell? Like, that's not fair. He sprinted off the sideline. And as that's happening, Tag Seth is turning to the crowd and just going mental. And I was just like, dude, like, I don't know. Like, again, I love when the quality and the technique and the technical ability meets the motor, meets a guy that, like, there's 10 minutes left in a semifinal, and he's going crazy. That's exactly what you want to see. And again, he's a really good player, and I think he was really, really important to this game and going to be an unsung hero because we're going to talk about Surge, as we should, Hani Mukhtar, and the rest.
Do you know what's funny is that you want to talk about stats, right? Because apparently we're here. Fewest touches of any outfield player.
Tag Seth?
Yeah.
No way. Are you kidding
in that
me?
Game. Yup.
Jesus.
Yup. Awesome. No, and
less than Surge?
Yes.
Maybe he didn't have that great of a game.
Yeah, who knows? But like my point, the point is that there's something quite gritty about Nashville though in these games.
Oh my God, yeah.
There? Or in this game in particular. And I don't know what you make of the Union, mate, but like it's been a really, really rough week.
Yeah, it's been tough.
A really, really rough week. And you picked up on this, but why haven't we seen more of Quinn Sullivan in that game? Why didn't
I don't understand why he didn't start. I really don't get that. I think that's a really bad oversight from Bradley Carnell. I was previewing the game when I was in CBS, and one part of it was, hey, projected 11s for both teams, and going back and forth with producers of like, I don't know if Malosky's going to start kind of at that left attacking mid. Maybe he'll play up top. I don't know about Damiani. And then it was just like, Sullivan, yeah, he's starting. Don't worry. Like that's someone. Don't just put Q next to his name so people don't think it's Cavan if they're just looking at that. And then the lineup comes out. I don't know, man. Like I don't get that one. Bradley Cardinal's been fantastic this season, but I think he got that one wrong. Sullivan did score a goal. I don't know if he changes the game completely if he starts. It wouldn't have hurt. Damiani seemed like he was on the verge of a red card at all times. Again, that's another player that I like, but maybe if you're in the goal on a yellow card, he should have gotten sent off, technically, letter of the law. He tried to block it with the hand, which should have been, like, if he blocks it and it doesn't go in, automatic red. Yeah. But I believe that Miola and Whitty were saying on the broadcast that he touched it, even though it went in. So then that should be a yellow. He was already on a yellow. So, I don't know. Damiani wasn't a great performance, but again, hindsight's 2020. It's easy to say, oh, like Quinn Sullivan really should have made a difference, but I think that was an easy one.
Not getting sent off on a technicality is very funny, isn't it?
That's how I live, man. Are you kidding me? I played last night, and I was asking a guy every time he shot the ball wide, like, are you gonna clip that and put that on IG, bro?
Okay,
what the fuck is wrong with this guy?
I need to ask you, since you brought it up, can you please paint a picture of what happened yesterday?
It was absolutely locked in for a men's league game. It was raining. I'm just a crazy person, so I couldn't wait. The other team had a guy who had a little bit of a score to settle. I bet he didn't remember it in any way because it was like 7 months ago. But guess what? I didn't forget. And there was a couple of times where he looked like I was just flying into a challenge, and he just kind of looks at me, and I was just like, "What's up, dude?"
Did you have a headband?
I think we went up 7-0, and it's set 8 aside. That's still a high scoring game, but we dominated. And then anytime he dribble sideways, and I'm just chirping the entire time. And yeah, because he's somebody who has put up clips on social media for a fucking men's league game. Give me a break, dude. Go set up your camera somewhere else, dude.
Do you know what's hilarious? Someone filmed one of my men's league games, and it was like the first time. God, this is embarrassing to admit. I'd like sprained my ankle, like genuinely, it was like purple, and I hadn't played for the. And I'm colorblind, and I know it was purple.
Yeah.
But anyway, I hadn't played in yonks, and someone was filming it, and there's this moment where I scored quite a nice goal, and I'm like, fuck it, this is going on Gram. Like immediately,
wow.
I was just like, this is it.
So then I'd be chirping you the next time I played you forever.
You should. My question is though, are you going shoulder to shoulder, or are you literally going 2 feet off the ground? Are you putting
shoulder to shoulder, full force, not pulling out, and a lot of extra contact is how that goes.
Nice.
Back to the games that people actually watched. So this sets up, as I said, Austin hosting Nashville in 2 weeks for the final. Again, we're going to talk about this in depth as we get closer, but just a quick, 10,000-foot view. This is going to be a game where the onus is on Nashville to make the game. It won't be the same style as Philly, in that Philly are more abrasive. Philly want to get up the field. They want to high press. They want to play more in transition than Austin does. Austin wants to sit in a bit more and then kind of spring on the counter rather than win the ball high up the field. But it will be similar in the sense that Nashville has to make this game, and maybe early on they'll have to earn the right to make the game. Maybe they'll have to either sit back or high press or whatever it is. It won't, what I like a lot about Nashville is they're pretty chameleonic. They can play a game against Columbus, where they try to keep the possession more than against a team that wants to keep the ball. They can play Philly where their midfield turns industrious. Sam Surridge is just knocking into dudes. And again, Walker Zimmerman, hopefully he'll be ready for this game. Kill you on a set piece if you want to go to the set piece or whatever, right? Like they can play several different styles while having their core principles. And I think that'll help them in this final. And for me, they're the favorite, even though Austin are at home. But this one is really close because of Austin can repeat the performance that they had against Minnesota, though. Again, it will be a different challenge because Nashville are more comfortable trying to break down a low block. But it's not like they're the 24 LA Galaxy or the 23 Columbus Crew.
Yeah, I mean, I think like you said, Nashville, it's going to be really curious what those first few minutes look like. If Nashville really properly takes the game to them, then I'm not sure how Austin will react there. Like an early Nashville goal certainly sets it one way, and maybe that's not a revolutionary new thought, right? But then it's like, oh, mate, we've got to scrap the plan here. Whatever, the more defensive and spring on the counter plan. But look, it could be a bit of a stale cup final to start, but when you've got two kind of what might be contrasting styles in terms of one team that really likes to play with the ball and another that would maybe rather not, that's either going to
would definitely rather not.
Yeah, which lead down the route of a 0-0 draw or a 4-3 win for someone. So hopefully be one of the two.
I like to be optimistic, but I'd probably lean the lower scoring outcome
honestly.
here. So those weren't the only. Those weren't the only. Oh, and by the way, I should have checked this out, but I believe that the night of the final, MLS scheduled the Campeones Cup. If you're listening to this podcast, please watch the Open Cup final and not the LA Galaxy versus Toluca. No disrespect to either of those teams, but why is MLS MLS saying things like, we love the Open Cup, we really care. All right, let's schedule our makeup regular season games to go against both of the semifinals, and then Campeones Cup, a competition that we created that's a one-off winner versus winner of Mexico versus MLS. Let's put that on the final of the Open Cup.
It's also not going to look great when last year's champions show up and get absolutely fucking battered, is it? Like that's really going to be big for the brand.
I don't think it's going to be, because I'm not going to watch. Spoiler alert, I'm going to watch the Open Cup final, and then I'm going to stick around for post-game coverage of the Open Cup final. And I'm going to focus on the Open Cup final because that's what it should be doing. Don't give lip service to that you really care about this competition and then schedule it. Not just a random MLS regular season game that had to be made up. The Campeones Cup, a competition you created while saying that the fixture list is too congested, we can't put all of our teams in the Open Cup. So, not great for the hypocrisy scale there. Anyway, there were games on Tuesday and Wednesday. So again, watch the Open Cup final. I know that our audience will, but I'm pushing it there. On Tuesday night, Miami beat Seattle 3-1 in a little bit of a revenge game following the Leagues Cup final. Nobody got spit on. Nobody got put in a headlock. And I believe Obed Vargas was not hassled all of his way out of the stadium, but Miami did win. Roldan looks like he's running on fumes. In hindsight, it seemed like that might have been a game to rotate Christian Roldan in particular because of how important he is to this team. So we'll have to monitor that going down the stretch. But Seattle have enough deep. They're so deep and they have enough players that they should be able to rotate. And they're not chasing the shield. So I think that should be their key focus for the rest of the season. And obviously no Luis Suarez in this game, suspended for spitting on Seattle Sounders security staffer. And they pick up 3 points.
Well, it's funny because this was a very Miami performance, wasn't it? It's like you watch that game and you went, they're not playing well here, and then Messi does a Messi thing, and it's like, all right, this is how it happens. Like genuinely, this is how they
started with Yannick Bright. I want to point out he won the ball, a couple at least two of the goals. The two goals from open play. He won the ball in the midfield, sprung a counter, and there was 2 goals. So. Well done.
Legend and selfishly one of the best one-on-one interviews I've ever done. Actually, he's hilarious lad. Like really shy but really funny. Everything I'm afraid to let myself on. Anyway, we don't need to go to, but I'll have some contract news in a little bit. So I think, listen, Miami get 3 points. They beat Seattle. Seattle gets to hang a banner and lift the trophy for the last game. Miami don't for this game, but revenge is good. And they pick up the 3 points and some needed 3 points, I think. Last night, NYCFC beat Columbus 3-2. A wonderful game winner by Fernandez. I don't know what's going on with Columbus. Every time I expect them to perform well, even they go up 5-0 against Atlanta United, and then you check your phone again an hour later, and it's 5-4 against one of the worst teams in the league that should be quitting on a head coach with uncertain futures for everybody on this team. It's been a little bit weird, and they look a little bit gamey. And a lot of this happens later in the game. Wilfried Nancy likes to keep a small squad, so that's something to watch for the rest of the season. I still think that their ceiling can be high, but the floor is lower than I really ever expected from Wilfried Nancy team. And one quick thought. Hugo Picard made his MLS debut. I don't think he was, not his debut, his first MLS start for Columbus. I don't think that he envisioned it coming on a baseball field. Does anyone imagine telling a foreigner that? It's like, listen, look, the city's great, you're gonna love it, like the facilities, the money, like America, man. And by the way, you're gonna have to play in a baseball field anyway.
Yeah, I don't think that was part of the recruiting pitch.
It wasn't.
Wessam Abu Ali scored for the second game, and again, we'll have to see what goes with Columbus going down the stretch, but They've slipped to, let me pull the standings. I think like 7th right now, which is, again, I know the Eastern, yeah, they're in 7th. The Eastern Conference is absolutely loaded. They could be in the play-in game. Orlando are 1 point behind them with a game in hand. Orlando is too good. Whoever ends up in the play-in game against Chicago, likely, or the Red Bulls, they're too good for that game. But the Eastern Conference has too many teams, and whether it's Columbus, Orlando, or NYCFC, they're going to be overqualified for that game. But you got to pick up the points to get out of it.
Tom, are you advocating for full-scale conference realignment?
Not in any way whatsoever.
Okay, fair
I don't know. There was no hint to that. That was just a reality of the Eastern Conference has a lot of good teams right now.
Okay, fair enough. Sorry, I'll just come onto your podcast, put words in your mouth.
One more, unless you have a big thought on Columbus NYC.
I really don't.
I did, yeah. I could assume. Because I don't either. Other than I was saying I don't either. Other than to make the low hanging fruit of the Hugo Picard joke. The other game last night that we will talk about a little bit. LAFC 4, Real Salt Lake 1. Son Heung-min hat trick, and then Denny Bouanga scores to become LAFC's all-time leading scorer. Son has 5 goals and 6 appearances for LAFC. Olivier Giroud had 3 goals and 38 appearances. A bit of a quicker start for Sonny here. Son and Bouanga each have 5 goals in the last 4 games. They have scored all of LAFC's last 10 goals. The early worries about how are they going to play together, what's it going to be like, what's the spacing, I think they're going to be okay.
That's probably the least intellectual thoughts you've had all day, Tom. You know what? I think they'll be all right. No, I think the funny thing with Heung-min Son, right, when he came into the league, is that everyone's favourite angle, and I say this journalistically as someone who pitched it, and someone else at goal, Ryan Tolmich, wrote it wonderfully. But, like, everyone's favourite angle is like, oh, it's massive for the Korean community. It's great marketing signing. Like, you know, the kit with the Korean lettering on the back, yada, yada, yada. Did we all forget that he's really rather good at football?
Not on this show.
Well, apparently not. But apparently in the echo chamber I live in, everyone was like, oh, look at the kits. And I was like, hang on. He can still play a bit. And I think what's wonderful about him, from what I've seen, is that everyone talks about, you know, like the smiles, the effort, and the everything. He runs his ass off, bro. He you know... there doesn't seem like there's much of a, oh, you're a luxury player, because they've already kind of got one. But, like...
Bouanga?
I'm kind of hating on Bouanga. I'm being a...
That dude, you cannot hate him for the motor, the engine.
Okay. My point being, he couldn't come here and not run, right?
He could have. Wouldn't have gone so great, but...
Right, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying, okay? So, point is, Son has come here, he's taken it seriously, and he's played really, really, really well. And I think what made me laugh was the free kick was the funny one. Because what was that? He scored an amazing free kick a few weeks ago, and that's the second free kick he's taken in his career. Because he was at Tottenham and no one let him take them.
Well, because Harry Kane, like it's funny. Like again, I figured the Son would be really good for free. He put that in the top corner. Like I texted somebody like connected to it. I was like, what? It's like, why didn't he get to take it? It was like, you did know we had Harry Kane for a decade. Yeah, it's fair enough.
Yeah, it's fair enough. What are you gonna do? But
yeah,
no,
right. And Christian Eriksen.
Yeah, but look, I'm as an American soccer fan. Ooh, that was hard to say. I'm happy to have him in the league, and he's been brilliant. Can I tell a funny story that I heard?
Yeah.
So apparently, I was talking to someone at Goal, and he was saying that as soon as the Son rumor was like, not when it was announced, like there's that in-betweeny period where it's like, who reported on that, by the way? Do you know?
Yeah. So one of the Toms here.
Yeah, anyway. So when it's being reported on, someone in K-Town in LA gets a massive Son, like, fat head and just slaps it on the side of their, like, Korean fried chicken joint, and everyone starts going to it, right?
That's so cool.
And then the owner next door is like, what the hell? I have better Korean fried chicken. And his mate points out, well, there's the Son logo. So the next day, he goes and gets a Son
That's
thing.
so funny, man. That's incredible.
And I was like,
impact.
God, I love it. But look, it's about more than where this guy's from, obviously. And he's an amazing footballer. And he deserves every goal he's getting.
Yeah, so he's again, I've spoken to people at LAFC, pretty much saying this immediately and checking in with them again earlier this week. They're like they go out of their way to be like he's an unbelievable person. He's so down to earth. He's like, hey man, like if he just didn't want to talk to anybody, if he didn't want to do much media at all, like, hey, we wouldn't love it, but he's Son Heung-min. You get to do that. You look at a long list of other stars currently in the league or previously in the league that.
Who are you talking about there, mate?
Yeah, how many times and again, like, that's their prerogative. Look, listen, Lionel Messi is Lionel Messi. I'm not gonna kill him for not doing media. He's beyond it. He's above it. He's earned it. Son has earned it too. And listen, last night he did an interview on the field with LAFC, and then he spoke to the press after the game, after the USA game or before the USA game. Like, he's doing that for South Korea. Like, I don't know, man. He's the most down to earth kind of like superstar that I have in recent memory. Again, for the people who are around him, are like, they just rave about him, and you can tell when something is perfunctory, when somebody feels like they have to say those kind of things, and you can tell when it's genuine. And when Son Heung-min is genuine, after the game, he gets asked about the hat trick, and he starts with, I'm so happy, and then the next 30 seconds, I think he thanked 17 different players on the team. He's That's like, amazing. Timmy played me the first ball. Denny was so unselfish. Like, just went on down the list, and Steve for trusting me, and the defense for how well they played, and Ugo. Like, this man wants to talk about and show his love to everybody else but himself. And then
and the kit man for how nice my jersey smells.
And after the game, when he's speaking to like the press, again, like, if you can go watch the video, it's just like the most genuine, biggest smile. And he's, quote, I'm enjoying every single second, every single moment, and every single training session, every single game. He's just happy, and like, in our Discord, which you can subscribe to by subscribing to our Patreon, and you get access to the Discord. One of our users, PDDJR88, quote, I know there might be a little homerism in this, and he has a little LAFC emblem next to his name, so he acknowledged that. But this is one of the reasons I think Son will end up being better for MLS than Messi. Honestly, I'd say it regardless of what team he's on. Guy's so personable, so likable, and just always puts himself out there.
It's an interesting take. I quite like it. I think one thing I said when this first happened is that Messi will sell more jerseys, but Son might sell more TV subscriptions because of viewership. And obviously, if you want to tell us how that's going, MLS/Apple, that would be nice. Just a thought. Sure you've never heard that one before. But no, I think the eyes he's drawing towards the sport, and look, you can only sort of speculate when it comes to fans from abroad and that kind of thing. But like, he's, in terms of building a brand, man, he's doing everything. He's doing everything he can, but more importantly, you get the sense that he wants to do it. And
that it's organic. This is just who he is. It's not like when you say building a brand, it's correct, but it's not like he's thinking, how do I build my brand? Should I hug Denny Bouang? Like, thinking, should I hug him after a goal? No, he just does that genuinely.
It's just like, where's the camera? How can I aura farm today?
Right. Or like, it never seems like he has like a predetermined, like Alex Rodriguez he would just say the things that he thought people wanted to hear him say, and he just sounded so plastic every time he said something. Russell Wilson is like this too. It's like corny. It's like, dude, do you really believe that, or did you come into this with like PR points that you wanted to hit? It just didn't always. It's always felt a little off. With Son Heung-min, again, maybe I'm just naive, but like, all this seems genuine.
Yeah, I mean, well, first of all, I didn't get either of those first two references since I'm not from here.
And hang on, and then you get mad at me when I try to over-explain like a basketball reference. You're like, mate, I'm English. That doesn't mean that I don't watch other things.
I was going to say, can you explain that in cricket terms? But anyway, look, yeah, you can't necessarily question the sincerity here, and honestly, like, long may it continue, dude. Like, like I said, it'll be great to see him continue to ball. And I mean, the other key point is that he's still doing it for his national team as well. And one thing you sometimes do see with DPs, especially when they get that little bit older, they've come to MLS, they've already maybe hung it up with the national team, or they're not even necessarily as quote unquote locked in, right? He was immense for Korea against the USMNT.
Best player on the pitch, and then he comes off the bench against Mexico and best player on the pitch again.
Right. So look, I mean, he's still going for it in all facets of footballing and by all indications the associated parts of life, and that's brilliant.
Just really quickly on Messi, the guy who just got referenced here from our Discord. There's reporting out there that has already been out there for months and things that we already knew. He's staying in Miami. And I think that's good for the league. That's good. He's the best player ever. It's great to have him here. He still cares for whatever is going on or whatever the critiques can be of Miami again, particularly after the League Cup final. I know he wasn't involved in that melee, but the man cares. The man cares deeply. He's extraordinarily competitive. He's not here to collect paychecks. And again, I just think that's a good thing. And sounds like a multi-year agreement is what we're looking at, which I think is also positive.
So he's not going to end up in the Saudi Pro League with Cristiano Ronaldo.
Doesn't appear that way, but he is still a Saudi ambassador.
And he's not going to end up playing 3 years for Barcelona while they still try and open the Spotify Camp Nou Part 2.
No.
Okay, well, disappointing as that may be, look, I know this must be frustrating for you, mate, because bloody hell, people keep reporting the same thing over and over again, then shitheads like me are like, so what do you know? Like,
yeah.
But look, I mean, all the time we just spent saying, hey, Leo, like, you should do more stuff. As long as he's here, then MLS is always going to be bigger, isn't it? So, yeah, I mean, I just hope honestly, selfishly, I just hope it gets done because I'm kind of sick of having the conversation. Do you know what I mean?
That it just gets announced. Like,
right.
Well,
true. Look, and I know you might be trying to tread around something here, there, and everywhere. So, but like, point is, Jorge Mas said, didn't he? Like, not too long ago, he's like, we hope it's all sorted. Like, we're very confident in it, but he can't just be like, it's done. So, like, if we would like to, sort that out.
Exactly. And that'll be a good boost for Miami for that to happen now and to be announced. And again, more clarity going for again. They've been planning under this assumption. It was never really in doubt as far as I understand. But we move on. And we're going to open. Go on.
Really quickly, it does. One thing about like this Messi thing though is that it does always just put a bit of a cloud over Miami and them as a football team, right? When that's just sort of dragging on in the background, it just kind of seems like that. Like until a player is actually signed, even though it's signed, it just dominates every single storyline.
Yes, and like again, well, part of that is like that it's not enough. Like it has to be discussed. Like I understand why it's a talking point and everything else. And again, like he's the best player in the history of the game for me. And of course we're going to talk about it. And of course this is going to be like, hey, worrying about, hey, is he going to change his mind or whatever, right? But like, as far as I understand, none of this has been a doubt. And Messi continues and should be retiring in Miami. All right, on to the news. We'll open up the ice cream shop. This feels uncomfortable and unbelievably self-serious for me and self-important for me to be the one driving this and opening up the segment, calling it like this. I usually like it better when it's Goss. I didn't want to put Hindle under that here. Read this and tell me that I know things. So let's start with some news. DC United, they parted ways with GM Ali Mackay, and very quickly and throughout my reporting, it sounded like they knew who they were going to hire. And my understanding is Erkut Sogut is going to be the new CSO. I don't know if anything is signed yet or whatever, but all indications point that way. They spoke as well to Toluca's sporting director. I'm scrolling his name. Santiago San Roman. He is a really highly well-regarded young executive. I asked around for a few people who know him. Very, very highly recommended. DC United talked to him 2 years ago, and he kind of turned it down. He wanted to stay at Toluca. Good decision. Toluca's only gotten better, and DC have only gotten worse. I doubt it, if they did offer him, that he would take it now. That's a guy to watch for the future in MLS. I think he will end up in MLS one day, but he's not going to have a shortage of options. Again, he's somebody who's very highly regarded. Toluca just won the Clausura. So back to Sogut. Sogut is a lawyer. Worked for agencies, including Mesut Ozil's, but he wasn't the direct agent, from my understanding. He was hired by DC United as a consultant to help with their head coaching search, while Ali Mackay was still the GM. Maybe just fire him then, or let him go then. I don't know. I don't love that. Don't love that optics. He hires a coach, Rene Waller. From what I've heard, Rene and him are pretty friendly. Rene suggested Sogut, maybe he should take over. Sogut was going to help them with their new CSO search. And he looked in the mirror and he found a candidate. And DC United it seems to be that they're going to be hiring somebody who has no experiences working for a club and no experiences in MLS, around MLS. Not to say that this definitely won't go well, but I will say there's some warning signs there.
You know what? Why not?
Yeah, I could give you 75 reasons.
It's already gone pretty poorly. Let's just give this a crack. I mean, look, the the dour Englishman in me, which kind of sees like the doom and gloom in everything, is like, wow, this could be poor. Maybe a fresh face is what you need. The fact that there are maybe some connections there could help. I'm always one for the outside voice, maybe telling people that they're wrong, but probably what DC United need is a bit of stability, solidity, and someone who can say, "Hey, look, I know what I'm doing here," and I'm not sure they've got it.
Yeah. I'm not sure either. I like to be optimistic, and I don't want to taint the jury pool and judge too soon. And again, maybe he's awesome, and maybe again a fresh outside look is what they did need. I've heard some mixed reviews. I will say he is a author. I think he's written 7 books. So there's that.
7.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's quite good.
Yeah.
That's not just one, but that's actually when you get to be an actual author.
It's
You know
impressive.
what I mean?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not like oh I wrote like one. I had a crack. Like he's an actual author there.
We're
At
just
that point.
hitting a stray at anybody who's only written one book. How dare you, Thomas? How many books have you written?
Don't worry about it.
Um,
So many ideas, so little time.
really quickly, Ali Mackay, I think, got dealt a really bad hand. From my understanding, so I know this to be a fact through 3 or 4 different sources. When Ali Mackay took the job as sporting director, he wanted to hire Dome Tarrant as head coach. There seemed to be an understanding on what that might cost and a green light on budgets. There was one counter offer, as agents do. This is what negotiations are. DC United ownership said, "Oh, we're never going to find a deal here. No, we have to stop negotiations." And just happened to be that the next candidate was at a much lower price point. And Troy Zane takes over. There were some positive signs in year 1, ultimately fired in year 2. But from day 1, the theme of kind of being undercut or the theme of plans changing, I was told there was going to be a new DP forward this summer. And then that plan changed. Christian Benteke has been a really good signing. Obviously, that predates. Like, that was driven by ownership. That was really good. They kept him here. They have the putting in the money to keep him here. That's all good. Beyond that, it's not been so good. So whatever happens, I do hope that the new CSO just gets here's your budget. Here's what we're giving you. You do as you see fit. Sporting department decides, and things don't change, because that's been DC's biggest issue. It's that Ben Olsen gets fired. Wayne Rooney comes in. Wayne Rooney changes a lot of things in the club in a good way. But you turn over the roster for what Rooney wants, and Rooney kind of changes his mind a little bit. Oh, Benteke's available. Let's go get him. What they do. That's just after they traded Julian Gressel, the best crosser on the team, because they needed to make room for other signings. Oh, you want Ravel Morrison on a max TAM deal? Sure, we're not going to look into that in any way. Sign him. Still got to pay him. Wayne Rooney leaves, as predicted, pretty quickly. Hernan Losada comes in. As they're trying to get rid of all the players that wanted to play mid-block, or that they'd have for mid-block, whatever, under Rooney, or whichever direction. I forget who was first and who was second. It's immaterial. The point is, they are at the stage again where they've hired a new coach, and it's going to be a new system that's different from the system that they've signed players for the previous coach. And by the time that they get the new players in for the current coach, that current coach is going to be fired and the sporting director might be gone. It is a constant state of instability and no way to build a team.
Doesn't that speak to like a larger problem though in
Yes.
like football and squad building? It's that no one gets any time. And the funny thing is like, surely a team, I mean, look, DC United have a certain amount of MLS heritage. I understand that. Like, that's always going to be
Sleeping
a
giant.
thing. I mean, there you go. Like, it's a burden, right? But like, sometimes you might have to accept being a bit shite for a few years to properly rebuild it.
I agree.
And there seems to be a reluctance to do that.
And again, for the people, for the criticisms of no pro, well, where else than MLS to just eat shit for a couple years for the greater good? Like,
Exactly.
you know what I mean? Like, so,
Yeah.
and again, Toronto learned this. They did, because they were the short-term fix. Like, they kind of said, listen, we're probably not going to be great for 18 to 24 months, because there are 17 bad contracts, including Insigne and Bernardeschi, and there is no way out of this without a complete rebuild and a complete reset. And it's probably going to be painful at first, but I promise you, we have to get out of the hole one way or another. And now Toronto have that opportunity. They have George Mihailovic, Jose Cifuentes. This winter, they can be seriously, if they miss the playoffs next year, they can be critiqued. But they had to go through that to overturn the roster, to make everything, to start laying foundation for a culture. And I think DC United should look at that, and Urquhart Sogut should look at that, and go on from there. Another piece of news, Jim Curtin, as I reported earlier this week, he will take a meeting with New England Revolution. They reached out after they fired Caleb Porter. I say take a meeting because I don't think it's correct to classify this as an interview in the traditional way, because it's less Curtin interviewing for that job and more New England saying, this is why you should join us, right? Like it's like Curtin interviewing New England because he's the top manager candidate on the market. He is under no pressure to take any immediate job. He is paid by Philly through 2026, as that's what his contract ran through. He's happy with his family. He's gotten his first year off from working day to day for a soccer team, whether as a player or as a coach, in literal decades. Yeah. So he's at a point where the project has to be right. He's open to returning now. He took a meeting with DC United. There was, like, again, I can't say this for Jim Curtin, but I'm assuming that the idea of like a sleeping giant of like, if I'm the guy that turns around DC United, that's pretty special. And it's kind of similar for New England. They've had success, of course. Haven't won MLS Cup. It could be a different scenario. Like New England, the positives here are ownership will spend, and Jim Curtin has established himself enough where I think that, I don't think that he would be asking to be CSO and head coach, kind of like Greg Berhalter is, but he's earned the right to say, I'm firmly a part of the personnel decisions, more so than like a regular head coach, and probably stopping short of like, I call the shots on everything. But so again, it has to be financially correct. The project has to be correct, and the people around him. But this is an absolute real possibility that Curtin goes to New England, and we'll see how talks evolve.
Do you think that's a good fit?
I honestly do. I honestly do. He, like, again, if they get that new stadium at some point in the next and ready to go in the next few years, it's a fantastic job. And I still think it's a very good job right now, or at least the potential to be, because ownership spends, and that's important.
Right.
And there is a few building blocks. Like you have Carlos Hill, and again, if you rate some of the new signings on Caleb Porter, like the academy has done, like again, Chris Tierney, Kurt Arnolfo, what this group has done with the academy in recent years to produce a lot of really good talent. That's in a great spot right now, and Jim Curtin has done really well with that in Philly. So I think that there's a lot of good stuff.
Yeah, there's the skeleton of something that could be quite successful there. And honestly, though, respect to, I suppose, Curtin in a sense, right, for not jumping back into it and knowing when the right job comes up that he will be one of, if not the go-to guy. And maybe New England is that job. It'd be cool. Why not? There's my riveting insight. It would be cool.
And he wants to be on the East Coast, or prefers that. Is again, he's been very public about that. So that's not breaking news or anything, but that's why he considered DC. That's why New England, I think, are within the mix. LAFC have a coach to fill in the winter. He's, again, every team with an opening should at least make a call and see where that goes. Gio Savarese is another name I think we should be watching for New England. I don't have up to the minute information on this, but as of a couple of days ago, there hadn't been contact between Savarese and the Revs. That could have changed, but Gio was interviewed for this job when they hired Caleb Porter. And I know that they liked him, so I'm assuming that they're going to interview him again, but I don't know. Gio is another guy where I've done this 15 times on this show. It is shocking to me that he hasn't been in a position to turn down a job. Like he's I think a very good coach. He's got a very, very high floor. And he's somebody who, again, those Portland teams, that's why New England made sense for me for Gio Savarese. Like, look what he did in Portland with Diego Valeri and then Sebastian Blanco. Carlos Hill sounds like a pretty seamless transition there. And again, everything else. But again, Gio Savarese, whether it's New England or whatever other jobs come open, I'm imagining him to be in the mix for all of these. And we'll see where that goes. Really quickly, before we get to Hindle's random thoughts, the GM and coach carousels are in motion. Per sources, Kansas City are talking to front office candidates. Again, Peter Vermees was the CSO and head coach. Mike Burns was brought into the front office to help, but it sounds like they're going to be bringing in more reinforcements there. Obviously, they still have an interim manager too. St. Louis City are talking to front office candidates as well. I believe both of those clubs want somebody with MLS experience, but I don't know that for a fact, and we'll see where those go. Again, St. Louis also has an interim head coach in charge. Around the league, again, Montreal, St. Louis, Kansas City all have interims. New England is open for a head coach, and LAFC, again, for 2026 are as well, with Steve Cherundolo returning to Germany after the season's over. And speculation is starting to mount around the league and sources I talked to at other clubs. Listen, there's a lot of talk about Atlanta, about whether they're going to move on from Dyla. I know that's an absolute possibility, maybe even a probability, but it's definitely not something that has been decided or communicated yet either way. We'll see how that one goes. But so Atlanta United could be in the market again. You kind of look on down the list. Will Eric Ramsey still be here next season? I don't know. I know that there's a lot of interest from him in England. He's been interviewed from championship clubs this season. He was interviewed before he took the Minnesota job. And we all kind of knew that best case scenario is they're going to be very good, and Ramsey's going to continue his coaching career elsewhere. He's a rising young manager, so we'll kind of see. And then I'm certain that there's going to be surprises. And when we get closer to decision day and teams are out, the carousel is going to keep spinning. One source did tell me that part of the boost for New England is they get the free run of Jim Curtin right now before, let's say Atlanta, or let's say insert whatever other team you want to here. If they move on from their coaches, New England has the head start on Jim Curtin. So carousel is going to be spinning, and we'll be talking about that a lot. But I've been talking too much. So Tom, I wanted to talk to you about somebody who is an expert on this league, watches a lot of things, but you don't talk about MLS all the time. You write about it a lot, but you don't do this. So I wanted to give you the floor and just 5 random thoughts. Nothing, they don't need to be the 5 most important things or the 5 most salient things or anything. Just what comes to mind when I say, you give me 5 random thoughts on the MLS season?
I love Jack McGlynn as a concept. Like, as a concept, right? I took the piss out of you for, like, stats, but I was on FB Ref, God, last night. How boring does my life sound? For fun. And it's, like, the most, like, 99 percentile on passing, shot-creating actions, progressive passes, passing to the far, whatever. And then it's, like, all of the defending numbers are so low. And you know what?
Green and then deep red.
Right, this is what America needs. These are the kind of footballers America needs. Right, none of this woke running nonsense. None of the idea like off-ball work. Don't put in tackles. None of that shite. Just have a really good left foot and ping it around. That is awesome. So I'm kind of obsessed with that. And then watching him play for the USMNT as well was just so funny. In that, I think it was the Japan game, right? He comes on and just Croqueta at top of the box, tries to bash one in from 30 yards, misses a couple of tackles, doesn't press, and I'm obsessed with him. And it's quite funny because I was talking to Philly about him, and they said, they loved him, but they just knew he wasn't the right fit.
Right.
And, like, they did really well, right, moving him on, getting the money that they did. But I just think he's brilliant. So that's one.
Let me just interject on McGlynn. The patron saint in modern MLS of the 97th percentile and better in all passing categories and the 3rd percentile and worse in all defending categories is Ricky Puig.
Oh.
And I just really miss Ricky Puig.
Oh.
And again, anytime that we do this FB Rev thing, it is beautiful. And it is the Ricky Puig Memorial FB Rev page.
It's hilarious.
Jack McGlynn is in that school. He's a graduate. He is a master of it. And I love Jack McGlynn too, man.
It's hilarious because sometimes we'll do that. See, nerds at the goal office, like we'll just like send screenshots of FB refs. It's like, tell me who this is.
I was disappointed that I didn't have that guess, and we had talked about McGlynn about an hour prior. So
I was gonna say, who did you? Well, you didn't guess. You didn't guess McGlynn.
I said it. I was like, this has to be a 10.
Yeah, you did. See, no ball knowledge. The second thing, another random thought. Evander, I have loved from afar for a couple of years because he has a similar thing in that there aren't enough players who just kick ball hard. Do you know what I mean? Like, he just kicks ball hard, and I think that's such a beautiful thing about MLS specifically. Look, I wrote quite extensively about like creative players and tens and how they only exist in MLS anymore, and I think there could be a little more nuance to that conversation. Go read it, though. It's all right. But Evander is like the poster child in many ways of that. So he kicks the ball really hard and then he celebrates in front of his old fans. Normalize that. Please normalize celebrating in front of your former fans. Do you remember it was Emmanuel Adebayor,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Iconic, does knee slide,
Yeah.
whatever. I'm fine with that. Enjoy it. We should enjoy scoring goals more. Tom, when you score in men's league or pickup, do you celebrate?
Not really. I'm more
Why?
of this guy anyway.
Why?
And I do. I celebrate more for when my teammates score.
Okay.
I'm a team guy. Let me
Shut
say.
up.
Let me
Shut
let
up.
me turn this back to you. Let me turn this back to you. So Tom Hindle, the big Liverpool supporter, hypothetically speaking, if Trent's hamstring didn't blow up, Trent comes back to Anfield, scores, and knee slides in front of the cop. Are you still saying this?
Hilarious. Hilarious. It's funny. It's funny. And
I don't think that's how you'd feel. I don't think
No, I'd
that's it.
probably-
We'll
I'd
never know because he did his hamstring on purpose
Yeah.
to get away to skirt the Anfield return. But I don't know.
I'd text you a rat emoji immediately.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay. Another thought. I show speed is ruining everything. I'm sick of this guy. No, this came up from MLS All Star, and Tom, you were there. I think you were doing a live show, weren't you?
Yeah, it was.
For this. Indeed.
Oh, we were.
In fact.
Yeah.
Sorry. You were doing a live show of this just before the skills challenge, and there are these people talking all day like, "Oh, have you heard that speed might be at the skills challenge?" Like just whispers here, there, and everywhere from like people in the league, people like like it was mentioned at like among like other journalists at like training and stuff like I show speed might be here, and everyone's excited. I'm like, why are you fucking excited? This guy is the sign of the apocalypse. Like this is where it's all going wrong. Like a child who got big by shouting Cristo Ronaldo is about to make this thing about himself. And like, dude, I feel like I've seen a lot of absurd things in person, but watching this guy fail over and over and over again at the skills challenge and people celebrate it was like the weirdest thing I've ever seen. So look, I know like he's supposedly the biggest thing in American soccer and he's important to the growth of the game and yada, yada, yada. I'm sick of him. And the football boomer in me is like, can we make it about proper football and not a kid who has a YouTube account? And
I'm gonna have to go find the Rondo episode on Goal.com. I believe the question was asked by our good pal Rahimovic. Is I show speed more important than the current players at the top of world football? I don't know if you were on that show or not.
I was not. It's hilarious. I should have been. I think
You saw the rundown and left.
Yeah. We had a pre-pro for that actually, and I think it was actually when I was on vacation. But
That's how the question got in. Yeah.
Yeah, we had a pre-pro.
Love you, Raheem.
Yeah, love. Shout out Raheem, one of my best mates. But
Good man.
yeah, after he was like, "You think I wanted to ask that question, bro?" Sorry, I'm not sure I should have just outed him on a podcast like that. Anyway,
because we kind of like he was implicated there, so that was only fair. I will say, it's not for me, but I respect the hell out of what he's built. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I can look at that and say like it's impressive. But the same way that some people like comedies and other people like horror movies. Like, I'm not a horror movie guy. Horror movies aren't for me. I still respect.
Yeah, they suck. They're scary. I don't see why people would watch horror. I don't see why people would scare themselves for entertainment. Why would you do that? I watched
You watched Liverpool under Roy Hodgson. Give me a break.
I watched Silence of the Lambs once, and I was like, "This is terrifying. Why do people do this?"
Okay.
Yeah, it's now a movie podcast. No, okay. The other one, I feel like we've touched on this, but Sam Surridge, I love him. I love him. Like, I mean, he's got the number 9 thing, and like, I'm reluctant to equate.
Fresh fade every week too.
Yeah, I'm reluctant to like equate leagues, right? But you know how people get really mad at Erling Haaland for like not doing anything other than scoring, when actually like an intellectual realizes that he, bullies defenders, makes important runs, yada yada yada. Surridge has got like that Haaland light, LITE thing to him.
Thanks for spelling.
Yeah, you're welcome. But while also just not having any sort of attitude at all, which makes it funny. Because like Haaland, you get the sense that he's like this evil space demon, right? But like Surridge is just like, yeah, it's all right. Don't mind Nashville. It's
All right,
okay.
mate.
Families come
It's
over.
the
Like,
Cole Palmer.
yeah, well, no, he's not that dumb. That's another thought. I don't think Cole Palmer's stupid. I think he's got.
I think he's like, it's like Gronk. I love it. I do. I really, and I think it's so. I just think again, it's genuine. He doesn't. It's more about not caring, and I
Yeah.
love it, and I appreciate that he's himself in these. All right, last one.
Easy. How funny is it going to be when Miami lose in the first round of the playoffs?
I don't. I think yes, that would be objectively funny. The likelihood is like so small. There's just take a step back and 24 and 25 that happening. I just cannot possibly believe that.
Oh, they're going to do it. They're going to do it. They're going to do it. It's going to be really funny.
Let's
It's
just
gonna be
so
really-
again, the Eastern Conference is jumbled. It's probably even a waste of time to do this right now because Miami have 2 games in hand. They are 6th, Charlotte are 3rd right now. That would be the first round matchup, but it'll be somewhere between Cincy, Charlotte, Nashville, maybe Columbus or NYCFC if they climb. But I will say any of those teams not likely to beat them, but it's not dead and gone. And to be fair, I would have assumed last year Atlanta was dead and gone.
That's what I'm saying. It's going to be funny. And I'm not even saying that in like a hate Miami, hate Messi way. I just think it'll be funny. I think there needs to be some more beautiful irony to all of this. And there you go.
On that note, this was a whole lot of fun. Tom Hindle, thank you so much for joining. Please follow him on social media. I don't know your handles off the top of my head, but I think people are smart enough to use the search function to search Tom Hindle, and they'll figure it out.
Tom.Hindle_ on
Okay,
X.
maybe a little tricky.
And yeah, I was going to say I made it hard for people. And then Blue Sky, I'm just Tom_Hindle.
There you go. Yeah,
There you go.
we favor Blue Sky here on this show, so that
Yeah,
is
damn
the
right.
more important one.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. This was a ton of fun. We'll be back next week. I believe Goss and I will be here, but will anybody be here tomorrow? We don't know. It's a day-by-day situation, and we have to figure it out that way.
Can I say one more thing?
You can say one more thing, but or producer Keon's gonna kill you. But yes.
So yeah, Keon, I'm really sorry, mate. You're doing so well. He's just sat here patiently. There is a goal.
Oh my God,
Rondo. Yes, there is a goal live show in New York on Saturday. You will have the misfortune of listening to me talk about football live with Raheem, aforementioned. I think Tom Bogut might be there.
TBD. Figuring it out in my schedule.
Bad friend. But
Get far away
anyway.
from the city.
Yeah, honestly. But yes, please, come. There is a partiful on my social media with RSVP links and this, that, and the other. Free Modelo's.
Maybe I'll be there.
Football. I will be there. Free Modelo's, football to watch. I know there's going to be a good vibe and a lot of people, and it would mean a lot if you came because.
I will vouch that this is going to be a fun event. I know that for certain with you guys involved. Goal puts on really good events. So if you're in the New York City area, go check it out. I think it'll be a lot of fun. Maybe I'll be there. Maybe you'll see me. Maybe not. But you don't need me to be there. You got Hindle. You got Rahimovic. You got everybody else. And the Free Modelo's is a nice little sweetener. So with that, thank you everybody for tuning in to Soccer Wise here on Thursday, September 18th. We'll be back next week, I think. Thank you very much.